Humanity has always been driven by the desire to push boundaries and reshape the future. This century alone has produced some of the most revolutionary discoveries. These innovations are so profound that they're reshaping the boundaries of what we thought possible. Let's now dive into these breakthroughs that have made the scientific community abuzz with excitement. 2013. Marine researcher Andrew Sweetman from the Scottish Association for Marine Science carried out his research in one of the most remote and mysterious regions of the Pacific, Clarion-Clipperton Zone. Spanning the distance between Hawaii and Mexico, this massive stretch of seafloor is nothing short of staggering. It's much larger than India. Sweetman's team deployed instruments to measure oxygen levels near the seafloor, expecting the usual pattern, oxygen slowly declining as microorganisms consumed it in the darkness. But beneath 5,000 meters deep in the ocean, something extraordinary appeared in their readings. Oxygen levels weren't falling, quite the contrary. They were rising. How could it be? In a place with no sunlight, no photosynthesis, and no known source of oxygen, there must be something wrong. And so, they dismissed the readings. Something had to be off. A glitch, perhaps a technical malfunction. After all, every study before this had shown oxygen vanishing in these depths, not mysteriously appearing. They filed the data away and moved on. But deep inside, the mystery lingered on Sweetman's mind. It took almost 8 years before he was able to revisit this mystery. In 2021, Sweetman returned to this part of the world, this time with different tools, new methods, and fresh eyes. And once again, the ocean answered with the unexplainable. Oxygen, fresh, unmistakable, was appearing in the pitch-black heart of the deep, defying everything science thought it knew. This naturally created a buzz in the scientific world. This phenomenon was later termed as dark oxygen, a fitting name since it defies the notion that light is needed to produce oxygen. Calling this discovery one of the most significant in recent history wouldn't be an exaggeration. These findings could shake the very foundations of biology, evolution, and even the origins of life itself. To understand why this is so earth-shattering, we'll need to get back to our Biology 101. The vast majority of our oxygen comes from photosynthesis, the process by which plants, algae, and some bacteria capture sunlight and turn carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. This oxygen either enters the atmosphere or dissolves into the upper layers of the ocean, supporting marine life. But light doesn't reach more than 200 meters below the surface. Beyond that lies eternal night. No known oxygen production. Hence, the discovery of Sweetman revealed something we haven't known previously. Something in the deep is breathing life into the darkness. What is it? At first, researchers tried to explain this through the ancient process called thermohaline circulation. This is a global conveyor belt driven by temperature and salt. Cold, oxygen-rich waters from the polar regions sink and begin a sluggish journey along the ocean floor, creeping across the globe over centuries, sometimes for thousands of years. This flow delivers a vital, though limited, breath of life to the deep sea. Without it, much of the ocean's abyss would be an oxygen-starved desert. But what Sweetman and his team uncovered in the Clarion-Clipperton Zone didn't play by these rules. The oxygen levels weren't just being preserved, they were rising. It became evident that something else was happening. Then, almost unbelievably, the answer revealed itself on the seabed. Literally, the polymetallic nodules. These peculiar metallic rocks that are lying scattered across the seafloor thousands of meters below the surface. At first glance, these nodules appear to be just ordinary rocks, but beneath the surface, they are anything but. Over millions of years, they've developed layer by layer as metals like cobalt, nickel, and manganese gradually accumulate around tiny fragments of shell or bone. These ancient rock formations had always been coveted for their metal wealth, but Sweetman couldn't shake the feeling that they held a deeper secret. He followed that hunch, and he was right. In the end, their true worth turned out to be far greater than anyone had ever expected. Scientists found that these nodules are creating small electrical currents, which may be triggering a process known as electrolysis, breaking water molecules apart into hydrogen, and most importantly, oxygen. To put it simply, the ocean's floor may be wired for oxygen. If proven true, it would mean these nodules are producing oxygen without sunlight, without life, and without precedent in the natural world. To test their idea, the team recreated the deep-sea environment in a shipboard lab. They sterilized samples of the nodules and the surrounding sediments, removing any trace of biological life that could account for the oxygen. Then they sealed everything in airtight containers and watched. Sure enough, just like on the ocean floor, the oxygen levels inside the sealed environments began to climb. To top it up, they found that the nodules were generating a measurable electric current, up to 0.95 volts. To put that into perspective, it takes about 1.5 volts to split seawater through electrolysis. That's the same amount of energy a standard AA battery produces. And so, the discovery was dubbed the geobattery hypothesis. This discovery shakes the very foundations of how we understand the emergence of life on Earth. For centuries, the prevailing theory has been that oxygen, and by extension complex life, came about through photosynthetic organisms around 2.7 billion years ago. But if rocks can produce oxygen without any biological assistance, we may need to rethink this entire origin story. Beyond this, its impact towards our future can't be understated. Naturally, deep-sea miners would salivate with the idea of exhausting these resources. For years, they've seen them as a jackpot of rare metals, which are the lifeblood of lithium-ion batteries. These tiny powerhouses fuel everything from your phone and laptop to e-cigarettes, military tech, and perhaps most importantly, the electric cars steering us toward a greener future. Cobalt alone can fetch over $30,000 per ton on the global market, while nickel, though slightly less lucrative, still commands a hefty price at nearly half that. Now, with the revelation that these nodules themselves act as natural batteries, they've become even more irresistible. In fact, analysts estimate that the value of the metals in the Clarion-Clipperton zone could be a staggering $30 trillion. That figure is almost beyond comprehension. And for corporations racing to secure the raw materials fueling the green energy revolution, the deep ocean has become the next great frontier. With numbers like that, it's tempting to think companies could simply deploy their equipment and start reaping the ocean's hidden wealth. But extracting these deep-sea riches might not be as straightforward or as harmless as it appears. That seemingly endless treasure of metals could come with a hidden cost. If these nodules are not only generating oxygen, but also supporting fragile underwater ecosystems or contributing to the planet's broader oxygen supply, their role is far more critical than we've ever imagined. Disrupting them could trigger a ripple effect of consequences we aren't prepared to deal with. The implications extend far beyond the ocean floor. This discovery redefines how we search for life across the universe. For years, scientists have relied on oxygen as a key indicator of life on distant exoplanets. But if oxygen can form without biological involvement, through natural electrochemical reactions deep in alien oceans, then what we once considered a telltale sign of life may actually be something entirely different. What if this strange phenomenon isn't exclusive to Earth? What if in distant worlds, similar processes are happening, quietly generating oxygen, quietly sustaining life? Above all, this discovery would have a lasting impact in our society. The very idea that natural processes deep within the ocean can produce oxygen and generate energy without sunlight opens up a world of possibilities. Could these processes inspire groundbreaking technologies? One that could mimic this nature's hidden chemistry to generate sustainable energy. The concept of harnessing electrochemical reactions in the same way these nodules do could lead to the development of new, eco-friendly energy sources. By tapping into nature's blueprint for energy creation, we might find solutions that are not only environmentally friendly, but also efficient and scalable. In the end, we must ask this important question. Should companies collect these valuable nodules to support future industries? Or should we leave them where they are, doing their quiet, crucial work beneath the sea?
Out of that remarkable science scientific breakthrough. 13,000 years after the last dire wolf walked the Earth, scientists say they've now brought them
back an extinct animal, if I can get it out, for the first time ever.
For the first time in history, an extinct species for thousands of years has been revived by scientists. These are the dire wolves, terrifying creatures that we've only seen in the popular series Game of Thrones. Has science finally cracked the code to bring back the dead? Are we now entering a new chapter in science? An era where woolly mammoths might one day walk the tundra again? And even the idea of bringing back dinosaurs no longer feels entirely out of reach. In an announcement that shocked the scientific community, Colossal Biosciences revealed that they've finally resurrected dire wolves, a breakthrough in its truest sense. The company first made waves with their audacious goal to bring back the woolly mammoth, the dodo, and the Tasmanian tiger. What we've been introduced to may look like nothing more than 3 charming, wide-eyed pups. But don't be deceived with their cuteness. They belong to the fierce lineage of one of history's most formidable predators. To truly grasp the significance of this breakthrough, we need to journey back in time and get to know this remarkable species. The dire wolf, a name that literally means terrible wolf. It lived up to its fearsome reputation, for it was an apex predator of ancient North America during the late Pleistocene epoch. With a bone-crushing bite force nearly 130% stronger than that of today's gray wolf, it dominated the wild for nearly 250,000 years. They possessed a formidable stature with light-colored fur. Every muscle, every feature was honed for dominance. The dire wolf was built for sheer strength, not agility. With a more muscular and robust build compared to both ancient and modern wolves, it was well equipped to hunt and bring down even large prey. Their skulls reached up to 12 inches in length and teeth that were not just larger, but far more robust than those of today's gray wolves. These teeth were built for crushing bone and tearing through even the toughest prey. Dire wolf fossils have been discovered throughout North and South America, highlighting the vast territory once ruled by this formidable predator. One of the most significant fossil sites is the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, where thousands of dire wolf remains have been recovered. A recent discovery of a partial jaw in China hints at an even more extraordinary possibility. This ancient species may have crossed the Bering Land Bridge into Asia. Though they shared a striking resemblance to today's gray wolves and jackals, dire wolves possessed a unique genetic lineage that set them apart. Unlike gray wolves and jackals, which can interbreed with other canid species, there's no evidence of dire wolves ever crossing their genetic line with any other canids. This genetic isolation may just have been the biggest contributor on why they eventually disappeared from the face of the Earth. But experts are also looking at climate change as another contributor towards its unfortunate extinction. As temperatures warmed, the large prey that dire wolves relied on began to die out. Meanwhile, gray wolves and coyotes, which were smaller, faster, and more agile, were able to adapt by hunting smaller animals. Fossils recovered from the La Brea tar pits offered a telling clue, a noticeable reduction in size over time. This shift was likely a desperate adaptation to worsening conditions, driven by food shortages and escalating nutritional stress. So, how did the scientists bring this ancient species back to life? To resurrect a creature lost to the Ice Age, Colossal's scientists began with a pair of remarkably preserved dire wolf fossils. From these ancient bones, they extracted fragments of DNA. By comparing these sequences to the DNA of modern canids like wolves, jackals, and foxes, the team identified the genetic signatures that once defined the dire wolf. Examples of these traits were dense white coats, long robust fur, and a physique built for dominance. With those traits in mind, they moved to the next phase, using blood cells from living gray wolves, the dire wolf's closest living relative. Armed with clustered, regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats or CRISPR technology, the team carefully edited the gray wolf's genome, making 20 targeted genetic changes. Specific gray wolf genes were cut away and replaced with dire wolf markers, creating a hybrid genome. Using the edited cells, embryos were created and implanted into large domestic dogs that served as surrogate mothers. After several months, a cesarean section delivered 2 puppies, Romulus and Remus. A third pup, a female named Khaleesi, was born later on January 30th of this year. Now these revolutionary pups roam freely across a sprawling 2,000-acre site in a secret location, safely enclosed by 10-foot-high zoo-grade fencing. Their every move is carefully watched, with security teams, drones, and live camera feeds keeping a constant eye on them. Perhaps they're currently the world's most valuable pups. Given the significant investment poured into these wolves, Colossal has made sure no detail is overlooked in their care. The facility meets the highest standards, fully certified by the American Humane Society and officially registered with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. These dire wolves are off to a promising start. They're eating well, growing stronger each day. Indeed, a brighter future is ahead of the de-extinction space. With this breakthrough, we might get ahead of ourselves. Suddenly, the idea of seeing real dinosaurs, not in books or on screens, but walking, breathing, living, feels like something that could happen within our lifetime. But this might be too visionary. Yet Colossal is charging ahead with bold ambition. Their next target? The woolly mammoth. If their plans stay on course, these long-lost giants of the Ice Age could be roaming the Earth once more by 2028. As expected, not everyone is swayed by Colossal's bold claims. Critics argue that the company has focused on altering just a few key genes that create visually striking traits, features that captivate the modern eye and stir excitement. These changes may have fooled the public into thinking that we now have again the dire wolves. But the reality is far from this. The company didn't do de-extinction or conservation. Rather, they've created something new. To them, the company has assumed the role of gods, wielding the power to conjure life and mold new creatures to match human desire and design. They've also raised concerns about the dangers of true de-extinction, warning that it could have unforeseen consequences and disrupt fragile ecosystems. In the end, it all comes down to one big question. Should we really be digging into the past to bring back species that vanished centuries ago, just because science says we can? Or are we messing with something that was never meant to be undone? The lure to bring these creatures back is powerful. But in our opinion, perhaps it's time to step back and respect the natural balance. There are reasons why dinosaurs or mammoths have stopped existing on our planet. Their extinction wasn't random. It was nature's response to a changing world, a reset written in time. What if we could harness the power of the sun right here on Earth? It may sound like something out of science fiction, but China is making it a reality. Scientists have developed an artificial sun, a nuclear fusion reactor that replicates the immense energy-producing process of our solar star. This groundbreaking technology has the potential to revolutionize energy production, offering a nearly limitless and clean power source. But how does it work, and are there any risks we should be concerned about? To be clear, China isn't trying to recreate the actual sun in the sky, but rather the process that powers it. Their artificial sun is a nuclear fusion reactor that generates energy in the same way as our solar star, by fusing hydrogen atoms into helium. This reaction releases an enormous amount of energy, which can then be converted into electricity. Unlike traditional nuclear fission, which splits atoms and produces hazardous waste, fusion is a clean, efficient, and nearly limitless energy source with minimal environmental impact. China's artificial sun has already reached a groundbreaking milestone. It maintained a steady-state high-confinement plasma operation for 1,066 seconds, setting a new world record and reaching a temperature of 100 million degrees Celsius. This reactor, known as the Experimental Advanced Superconducting Tokamak or EAST, is one of the most advanced fusion experiments in the world, pushing the limits of energy science and bringing humanity one step closer to harnessing the power of the stars. The impact of this breakthrough couldn't be understated. If fully developed, fusion energy has the potential to provide an almost limitless supply of clean, renewable power, eliminating the need for fossil fuels once and for all. Even more promising is the fact that the fuel required for fusion, hydrogen isotopes like deuterium, is abundant on Earth, ensuring a sustainable energy source for generations to come. The possibilities are staggering. Will we reach a point where our most powerful energy source isn't in the sky, but right here on Earth? Only time can tell. If you've ever watched Harry Potter's invisibility cloak in action and imagined how useful it would be in real life, you're not alone. Now, what once seemed like science fiction is becoming reality in an unexpected way. Scientists at Zhejiang University in China have applied this concept to military technology, unveiling a groundbreaking advancement in stealth, the Aeromphibious invisibility cloak. Designed for drones and aircraft, this innovation is set to redefine modern warfare and strategic defense. This breakthrough is more than just a technological achievement. It carries profound geopolitical implications, shifting the balance of power and reshaping the future of warfare as we know it. What is behind this technology is the science of metamaterials. It's a category of engineered materials that manipulate electromagnetic waves in ways nature cannot. The traditional stealth technology is that it absorbs or deflects radar waves. But this next-generation cloaking system does something revolutionary. It bends signals around an object, making it appear as if nothing is there at all. The result? Near total invisibility, rendering enemy detection systems useless. How can you defeat an enemy that you can't see? What truly sets this technology apart is its unparalleled adaptability. Unlike traditional stealth systems, which are designed for specific environments, whether in the air, on land, or at sea, China's Aeromphibious cloak defies limitations, seamlessly blending into all three. This level of concealment across aerial, naval, and ground-based assets isn't just an improvement. It's a game changer that redefines military strategy and reshapes the future of modern warfare.
Welcome to Afrogenesis Artificial Intelligence.
In a quiet corner of Kenya, inside what was once their late grandmother's granary, two cousins, Moses Kiuna and David Gathu, are reshaping the future of assistive technology. With determination and ingenuity, they have crafted a robotic prosthetic hand that moves with natural precision, allowing users to reclaim everyday tasks with ease. Their humble journey of becoming inventors of this groundbreaking technology started in 2009. They've decided to help their classmate born without a hand. That moment ignited their curiosity about how the human brain sends signals to control movement. Through sheer determination and passion, they're able to produce bio-robotic prosthetic limbs made from recycled materials. This surely brought joy to those locals with limb loss in their community. To bridge the gap between mind and machine, the prosthetic arm responds to brain signals, offering users greater independence in performing everyday tasks. It is worn on the head and back and works as a communication link between the brain and the prosthetic limb. It translates the user's thoughts into movement by capturing electrical signals from the brain through a headset receiver. These signals are translated into precise commands, directing the robotic arm's every motion with remarkable accuracy. By harnessing electrical impulses, the prosthetic seamlessly mimics natural arm functions, restoring mobility in a way that feels almost intuitive. But this inventor duo didn't stop at revolutionizing prosthetics. They set their sights even higher. Determined to expand their impact, they built an AI-powered robot designed to assist individuals who have lost mobility below the neck due to accidents or illness. Meet Jeff, their smart and responsive robotic assistant. Fluent in both English and Swahili, Jeff follows voice commands and can be positioned on a surface or mounted on a wall. But what makes Jeff even more remarkable is its origin. Just like their robotic prosthetic arm, Jeff is crafted from discarded electronics, salvaged leather, and wiring collected from repair shops and dump sites. By turning e-waste into life-changing innovation, these young inventors are proving that technology can be both transformative and sustainable. Their imagination is boundless. Their innovation is unstoppable. Except they have one hurdle: funding. They're certain that with the right resources, they could take their prosthetic designs to the next level, making them not just functional, but more durable, stylish, and adaptable. With such a groundbreaking invention, surely they would have no problem in securing the required funds. However, the proposed terms have often been unfavorable to them. They're required to relinquish ownership of their innovations. The duo stood their ground, refusing to give up their independence. After years of self-teaching, trial, and error, they knew the value of what they had built. Every breakthrough was hard-earned, Every innovation a testament to their relentless determination. Handing it over under unfair terms was never an option. We just hope that time will come when someone will help them without too many conditions. How would you like driving a car that doesn't need to refuel? Sounds like an outlandish idea, right? But for a Zimbabwean inventor, it's entirely possible. Maxwell Sangolani Chikumbutso stuns the world with the introduction of the first self-powered car. This surely raised some eyebrows in the automobile industry. Surely you're curious by now. How can it be possible? Well, the answer to this question lies on his revolutionary microsonic energy device. This groundbreaking invention taps into radio frequencies from the atmosphere, transforming them into a continuous source of electricity. Unlike conventional vehicles that depend on fossil fuels or rechargeable batteries, this self-sustaining car pulls energy straight from the air, offering limitless power without ever needing refueling or charging. This game-changing technology has the potential to disrupt the global automotive industry, making gasoline engines and lithium-ion batteries obsolete while ushering in a new era of sustainable and cost-effective transportation. However, it is unlikely that the powerful corporations and industries built on the global fuel economy would simply take this sitting down. With trillions of dollars at stake, these entities would likely take strategic measures to hinder the widespread adoption of this technology. As anticipated, many scientists and researchers have dismissed Chikumbutso's claims as scientifically implausible. Foremost, it defies the fundamental laws of thermodynamics, particularly the principle that energy cannot be created from nothing. Critics argue that this device clearly doesn't sit well with established scientific principles that have governed physics for centuries, but advocates of this African invention believe that, if widely implemented, this technology could upend global energy markets and make affordable power accessible to communities worldwide. Its potential impact couldn't be understated. Think of a future where costly fuel becomes a thing of the past. A world powered by clean, unlimited energy accessible to all. Cars, homes, and industries could run on free atmospheric energy, making traditional power grids and fuel industries obsolete. Such a breakthrough wouldn't just disrupt the energy sector, it would transform the entire global economy, redefining how the world operates. The water crisis in Africa is an undeniable reality, particularly affecting impoverished communities. It has become increasingly common to turn on the tap, only to find no water at all. With a growing population, water scarcity is poised to worsen, making any innovation that addresses this issue truly revolutionary. In the heart of Kenya, where water scarcity is a daily struggle, one inventor looked not to the ground, but to the sky for answers. Instead of searching for wells or rivers, she saw potential in the very air around us. With a groundbreaking invention, she found a way to pull moisture from the atmosphere, transforming it into safe, drinkable water. Most people imagine fresh water flowing through rivers and filling lakes, but the truth is far more surprising. Hidden in plain sight, the air around us holds an immense, untapped reservoir of water. Scientists estimate that the atmosphere carries nearly 6 times more fresh water than all the rivers on Earth combined. With her invention known as magic water, she found a way to capture this hidden resource and turn it into life-giving fresh water. But how does it work? At the heart of the system are advanced sponge-like materials that pull moisture from the air. Once the water is trapped, solar panels gently heat the material, releasing the vapor, which is then condensed, purified, and transformed into clean, drinkable water. By harnessing the power of the sun and mimicking nature's own processes, magic water offers more than just a solution. It provides hope. Scalable and sustainable, it has the potential to change the lives of millions. This statement isn't merely lip service. For too long, the poorest communities have had no choice but to drink contaminated water, risking their health with every sip. But Koigi's invention is changing that. With magic water, hope flows where it once seemed impossible. No longer will locals have to depend on crumbling infrastructure, drying wells, or unreliable surface water. Fully harnessing the potential of atmospheric water generation technology could be a game changer, offering a sustainable solution to address global water shortages and secure access to clean drinking